No, I don't, but I will say this, that computers, especially those that do quantitative analysis, have been proven to be faulty over and over again. We saw that in the late 90s with the Scholes and his partner who had received Nobel Prizes. They went bankrupt. And so there are big gaping holes in what you can accomplish through what they call black box approach. And there's always that element of chance that you can't figure on. It's like the man who goes to the roulette table and has the system, and the system doesn't work. It's very similar to that. And so I do look at it, and I do look at charts as well, and waves and cycles of the past. But I'm basically a fundamentalist because you can't argue with it. It's there, it happened, or it is happening, and you can figure out where it's going to go based upon history. And so I tend to look at that more strongly than anything else.
All right, let's get to Mark in Vancouver. Our time is running out for Robert Chapman. Go ahead, Mark.
Yes, Robert. I have a two-part question for you. As you know, it was Sunday, April 5th, 1933, when FDR ordered the bank holiday. Do you think Obama will follow the international bankers' lead and order a bank holiday on April 4th, 2010, marking a 77-year anniversary? And what might precipitate a bank holiday?
Well, let me ask you, where did you come up with that? Why that date? Do you believe the international bankers are calling for that? Where do you get that?
Well, a lot of the bankers and the elitists are into numerology. 77-year anniversary of the bank holiday that FDR ordered with the Federal Reserve and the Secretary of Treasury in the White House on Sunday morning will be April 4th, 2010.
So you're saying that they have made some sort of announcement that this is something that they want
No,
to
I
do?
just wonder if Obama will, Obama being the president, will take his marching orders from the international bankers when it's time to call the bank holiday, just like FDR did in 1933.
Okay. Robert Chapman?
I think that the president will take marching orders anytime he's given them. As far as a repetition in April of this year, possible but not probable. I think that they have to go further with the situation because they're going to be under tremendous pressure from a dollar that's under tremendous pressure. And so you also have to look at the climate among people during the two periods of time. In the 1930s, people walked around with $5 and $10 gold pieces in their pocket. Many, many, many people, probably more than half the population, walked around with gold in their pocket. They don't do that today. Less than 3%, and maybe, because we're guessing, maybe less than 1 or 2% of Americans own gold. And so I don't think it's worthwhile for government to say we're going to confiscate your gold. And you've got to remember that in the 30s, only 25% of the people turned their gold in spite of the fact, in today's dollars, the fine was $1 million and 10 years in jail. And so I don't think they're going to do that because it's not worthwhile for them to do it.
You know, you're messing with a lot of people's worldviews, not mine, but there's a lot of people that are really invested in this idea, apparently, that President Obama is going to come for their gold in 2010, and that you say it's unlikely to happen, or that there's no real incentive to have it. And I think it's interesting that you said how many people were walking around with gold back in the 30s as opposed to today. And I think that actually there's a lot of paranoia about this gold, and how much, what are they going to have to do not only to get it, but then to protect it?
Well, there would be far more chance that they probably, through the United Nations, would try to confiscate weapons. That is a real problem for them. Gold is not a problem for them.
Let's get to Fred on a wild card line in Davison, Michigan, for Robert Chapman. Last call. Go ahead, Fred.
Okay, thanks. I'm into solutions, Ian.
Okay.
I call it grassroots information project based on the fact that the Federal Reserve, being the infamous foreign private corporation, which is one of the 10 planks of the Communist Manifesto, violates the Federal Charter's provision of a gold and silver-based monetary system. So why not reestablish issuing U.S. Treasury notes backed by gold and silver coin, or at least, as JFK had begun to do, the Treasury notes. I think silver was still in circulation at the time. Secondly, Ian, George interviewed Tom Cryer back around July, truthattack.org. He's launched the Tea Party Square movement, and at truthattack.org, there's a 110-page memorandum of law that is the blueprint for unshackling all Americans from the fraudulent income tax. And Tom Cryer is a tax attorney.
Do you have a question for our guest, Fred?
Yes.
Okay,
So,
great. In the time we have, go ahead.
What do you say relative to what I just mentioned as a blueprint for restoring American sovereignty, since it's obvious Congress is not going to honor Ron Paul's H.R. 1207?
Okay, go ahead.
Well, I think that if Congress passes it, they'll have to honor it. And I think that the exposure of what the Fed has been doing will bring about its demise very quickly. But as far as going back to sound money, we'll call it that, you're absolutely correct. And it would turn America down. But I think the gaping hole is, do they have any gold? We don't know. We know that gold is in Fort Knox, and I know that because I have a subscriber who used to work there. He was in the military. So there's gold there, but we don't know whether it's gold-covered tungsten bars or who it belongs to, or why don't they have an audit. But if they do have the gold, and we could revert to what you just described as sound money, that would work and it would turn the country around. And it would do away with the Fed, and the power would go back to the Treasury, where it emanated from the first place from the Constitution.
There you go. And Robert Chapman, nice way to end. Appreciate that. And looking forward to 2010. I'm looking forward to getting my voice back sometime in 2010, too. I hope you feel better. Thank you, Rob. Here you're sneezing occasionally in the background. And enjoy a happy and healthy new year. Thank you.
Thank you for listening.